Hello my beautiful friends. Today I am so excited to be doing an all-time favorite thriller recommendation video. These were like 5 stars and beyond reads for me. These are ones that some of these I've read years ago and I still remember the ending so clearly. The Lake of Lost Girls by Katherine Greene. I read this a few months ago and it has quickly become something that takes up headspace. I just loved it so much, and I already have another Katherine Greene from the library. I already have another Katherine Greene from the library behind me. Like, I am ready to binge this author because I love The Lake of Lost Girls that much. So this one involves 2 timelines. We have a timeline in the late 90s following Jessica, who is in her first year at college. She's away from home, and we know from the present day timeline that she goes missing. The present day timeline is her younger sister, who is now grown up. She's about 24, I think. Her name is Lindsay, and she's trying to really peel back the layers and finally figure out what happened to her sister, because there was never any conclusive evidence as to what happened to her sister, but a bunch of college girls around the same time went missing. So it seems like there was some kind of predator or someone on the loose that was going after these girls. So Lindsay goes into this. There is a bit of a podcast element. It's not as strong as some other books I've read, but it is something I enjoyed about it. What I loved about this is that I enjoyed both points of views equally. I found them both super suspenseful and immersive. I like the discussion around true crime and like true crime podcasts and things like that this also brought up. I thought that was a really interesting take, and I just found the ending for this, wow. Yeah, I didn't see that coming. I didn't put that one together fully. I was really shocked by the ending and had just a wonderful time with this book. It was so good. The Death of Miss Westaway by Ruth Ware. Now, I love Ruth Ware as a whole. Most of her books are really solid hits for me, but when I thought about which one did I want to include, this is the one that kind of peaked to the top. I would say it's like more of a mystery thriller, but it is so fun. For starters, the main character is like a con artist, which I personally love. I am fascinated by con artists. I know that sounds like really weird out of context, but in fiction, I find it just fascinating. Like, how do they pull these things off? Because I'm like, how do you do it? I don't know, but I enjoy reading about it. Our main character in this is Harriet Westaway, and she is struggling to get by. I think she's like a tarot card reader on like the beach or like some kind of boardwalk situation, and her bills are piling up. And then one day she gets this letter informing her that Miss Westaway, her grandmother, has died. Problem with that is that her grandparents have been dead for many years. She knows this is a mistake, but this letter is like claiming she's inherited something and she's desperate. She decides to go to this manor. It's gorgeous, it's eerie, it's unsettling, with all these other kids. I say kids, they're adults, but all these other people who are inheriting a huge amount of money from Miss Westaway as well, and she decides to go and kind of make this her big con because she is so desperate. And while she's there, she starts to stumble upon all of these family secrets. Oh, so gripping. I love Ruth Ware's writing. I hope she writes more books along these lines. The suspense, the eeriness, some of the turns and twists around the family and the creepiness, and she just feels unsafe while she's there. And while she's there, she just realizes that there's something very wrong with these people, and the inheritance is at the center of it, and she is wondering what is going to happen. Can she get out of here safely? And she's wondering if she's kind of bitten off more than she can chew with this con. So I'm very excited. This one was a great one. I wish I could reread it again for the first time. The Butcher by Jennifer Hillier. This was a recent read of mine. I've really enjoyed this author's writing as a whole, and I know many people, I think, love Jar of Hearts the most, but The Butcher, I think it's my favorite. I really loved Little Secrets too, but The Butcher takes place, this is very much a like serial murder situation. So we have a couple of central characters. We have Edward Shank, who is this detective who is well known and famous for putting away the butcher, who is a serial killer. That's like his big call to fame as a detective, chief of police, and now he is elderly, he is kind of ailing, he's needing to be put away into like a nursing home for extra care. So his grandson Matt is at his home, and he actually is inheriting the place. He's kind of moving in. He's like, okay, here we go. And he uncovers a chest buried in the backyard, which will completely rip away everything he has known about his grandfather. It's gonna completely like just undermine a lot of things. On top of that, he also has a girlfriend, and his girlfriend is convinced that her mother was murdered by the butcher, except the butcher that Edward Shank put away was put away before this murder happened. So there either was a copycat, or the girlfriend is wrong, or it was just, you know, done in a similar manner, or the real killer was never caught. I adored this. I feel like this one was more of a heavy suspense. There were definitely twists and turns. I feel like if you're a frequent thriller reader, you're gonna call some of them. But what I liked about this was the exploration of the characters. I found that part just to be so intriguing, and just the questions and like just the, like, what would people do to protect themselves or to get answers? It was just a very like extreme, like, what are these people willing to do, I guess, is like the extreme question, and that's what this book goes after, and I just could not put it down. I was hooked. I was hooked. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. So had to include it. I mean, I loved all these books. That's why they're on this list. 9 Lives by Peter Swanson. Easily my favorite Peter Swanson. This one took me for a ride. Basically, there's a list of 9 people, and these people get this list of themselves on a list with 8 other people who they don't know, and it's mailed to them or delivered to them in some way, and it's very strange, and those people start to die one by one. So this is kind of a one-by-one situation. One of the people on that list is actually an FBI agent, so she turns the list in to her like agency because she's used to being more paranoid because of her profession, and she turns the list in. They start to look into it. That's when they realize the connection that, hey, these people appear to have nothing in common, but they seem to be dying one by one, some under normal circumstances, seemingly, some maybe not so normal, and that's kind of the premise. You get to read from a ton of different points of views. It's a very messy, chaotic read, but I loved it. I still remember one of the bigger twists at the end. I honestly, like, my jaw dropped. I was stunned by parts of the ending of this. I loved how everything came together for this. I'm someone who really likes a one-by-one kind of trope, because what is more suspenseful than people going missing or dying one by one? I mean, that is suspenseful as it gets, and I loved this. I thought this was a phenomenal read. I would love Peter Swanson to write more books like this, because this is one I just absolutely love. Trapped by Katherine Ryan Howard. If you guys are not new to my channel, you know I like to talk about this book so much, but it is one of my all-time favorite thrillers. It is one where I was so gobsmacked. I remember where I was sitting when I read the reveal, like that level of good, and this is like one of my all-time favorite books I've ever read. So this is the cover here. So this one takes place around Dublin. Main character is Lucy, and her sister Nikki was walking home from a pub in Dublin one night and disappeared without a trace. There's no sign of her, and this appears to be a pattern of Irish women disappearing around the same location, never to be seen or heard from again. And Lucy decides she is going to figure out what happened to her sister. There's another point of view we're reading from Angela, who is a pencil pusher at the local Garda, which is the police force, and she wants to really step it up. She would like to be promoted. She wants to be in on the action, become a full-on Garda officer. And she notices this pattern with these women disappearing and starts to get involved in solving the case. And then the last point of view is a nameless man who has just taken his next victim in his car, and he's telling her everything from the start. So this nameless man is driving through the night with his latest victim in the backseat, and he is telling her everything. So those are the points of views you're reading. I've read several really amazing books from this author, but this one is my all-time favorite. I feel like this will be a hit or miss, honestly. I feel like people will either love or hate this, and I'm clearly in the I loved it so much. This is on a pedestal of thrillers for me. What Godmother Says by Ellis Stratton. Oh my goodness, was this the most intense read? Definitely a very heavy, dark read, going a little into the horror, touching into horror a little bit more. So we have 2 points of views with this, and Godmother will freak you out. So we have one in the 1920s. We're following Estelle, and she is a Harlem Renaissance artist. She's not very well known. She's trying to make a name for herself, and she lucks out and gets this patron to support her financially named the Godmother, who's actually inspired by a real person, which freaked me out even more when I learned that. So If you like based on real things, this one was based on a real person, and wow. So she is sucked into Godmother's world, and Godmother starts to ask for more and more things, and you do not turn Godmother down. Our present timeline follows a young woman who her grandmother passes on this painting that the family's had for a long time. And this painting was done by Estelle. Now, our main character has never really heard of Estelle. She's not well known. She starts to feel a connection to the art and look into the past. And then she starts to get threats, and people are interested in the painting. And it just, there's a lot of intrigue. There's a lot of anxiety for her. She's really struggling as well, like with her personal life and just where she's at in life, and it will have you on the end of your seat. I think I preferred the Estelle point of view just slightly because it was so gripping, but oh my goodness, the mystery, the intrigue, the layers of this story were so incredibly well written. I definitely need to read more from this author. Rock, Paper, Scissors by Alice Feeney. I, in general, really love this author's work, and Rock, Paper, Scissors was probably my all-time favorite, just a smidge better than his and hers, just a smidge. I enjoyed this so much, and again, this is one where the twist, honestly, I read this years ago, I can still remember it so clearly because of how distinctive it was. So this one follows Adam and Amelia Wright, and they are a married couple who are really struggling, but they decide to go on this like anniversary trip to try to save their marriage. They visit this like remote location. It's kind of like a church, if I remember correctly, which was interesting. And they go there, things start to happen. And while you're reading this book, not only does this couple feel like they're being watched, but you're also reading these letters, these anniversary letters, and these letters provide a lot of insight into the couple's 10 years of marriage. And then on top of that, you're discovering secrets that each of these people have been keeping from each other. So this is both a domestic and psychological thriller. It is extremely gripping, a nail biter. The twist will leave you stunned, and if it doesn't, then kudos to you for calling it, because wow. The Last Time I Lied by Riley Sager. I read this for Summerween this year. My only regret is I didn't read it faster, and this one I think has replaced Lock Every Door as my favorite Riley Sager by just a smidge. Just a smidge. This one involves a summer camp, so this is a fantastic summer thriller. Our main character, we get to read her from two different timelines, both when she's a teen girl and she's staying at this camp, the summer camp for like teen girls, and her three roommates leave one night and never come back. They are gone. Just nothing is ever found of them. They don't get any closure. And then we're reading her perspective from that summer as a teen. Then years later as an adult, we're reading her point of view in the present day, where she is really struggling as an artist. She's not where she wants to be in life. She's really struggling with this past incident in her life, and the camp owner reaches out to her and asks her to be a camp counselor. And she decides to go back to this camp, get closure for herself one way or another, snoop around, figure things out maybe if she can, or just get some answers, or just kind of conquer her fear. One way or another, she wants to get closure. And while she's there, she starts to find things and pick up on things that she missed as a teenager. And this helps her to unravel this big mystery about this girl's disappearance. Oh my goodness. I think the ending's kind of crazy, but I loved it. I thought it was like a really good crazy and just jaw-dropping kind of twist for me. I just absolutely loved this. I think this is Riley Sager's best work. That and like Lock Every Door, I absolutely adored it so much. The Wife Between Us by Greer, Hendricks, and Sarah Pekkanen. I have binged these two co-authors' work this year. I've absolutely loved it. This is probably my favorite though, so I wanted to include this on the list. If you like a domestic psychological thriller, this is a great one. And the synopsis for this is very brief, so I'm going to leave it at that. I think the less you know going in, the better. But this book, you will assume, is about a jealous ex-wife who is jealous of a younger woman who is about to marry her ex-husband. That's what you will assume. But don't assume anything, because you're wrong. Like, you're absolutely wrong. You're going to assume that that ex-wife is obsessed with her replacement, who is a younger, beautiful woman who appears to make her ex-husband so happy. But you really want to assume nothing, because you will be wrong. You will be wrong. This is so well written. I absolutely was just blown to smithereens with this book. I loved it. I devoured it. I have devoured every book by these co-authors since then, and I've loved all of them, but this one is probably my favorite by just a little bit. The Return of Ellie Black by Emiko. Jean, This one was a little unusual for me in terms of the direction the thriller went, but I absolutely loved it. So it has been 20 years since Detective Chelsea Calhoun's sister disappeared, and there's been a string of girls who have appeared to disappear under similar circumstances, and she's now a detective. She's working to get answers for those girls to prevent it from happening to someone else. And then something amazing happens. Ellie Black returns, and she was one of the girls who vanished. The problem is, because you think this would be a big break in the case, right? No, because Ellie Black refuses to say a word about where she's been, what happened to her, who took her, like what was going on. So Detective Chelsea Calhoun is stumped because she is not only trying to get justice for Ellie Black here, the other girls, she's trying to prevent it from happening again. She's trying to get answers about her own sister. This really blew my mind. It went in so many directions I didn't expect. This will take you on a ride, and I was here for it. I hope you are too, because I had a blast with this. And what I also liked about this is discussion around tragedy, because obviously all of these girls' families are struggling immensely, including the detective herself, and this one really delves into that, and I enjoyed that a lot. I thought the discussion added a lot to it. I cannot believe that this was this author's debut. I thought it was so impressive. You Will Never Be Me by Jessie Q. Sutanto. This was like an influencer drama psychological thriller. I love Jessie Q. Sutanto's writing, for whether it's cozy mystery or thriller. I've had such a good time with her, but this one was especially gripping. This one discusses social media heavily, online culture, influencers, the dark side of social media, which is something I really enjoy exploring, because as much as I love social media, I'm on here and I love the connection I have with all of you, there is definitely a very dark and creepy side that can emerge. And this one discusses two influencers, Meredith and Aspen. Now Meredith helps Aspen out. She helps her get her foot in the door with influencing, and then Aspen's career takes off and she far surpasses Meredith, which leads to this bitter rivalry. Then Meredith disappears, and this book kind of goes into what has happened. You get to like learn what exactly happened to Meredith. At one point Meredith, you know, has like started to mess with Aspen's career in different ways, so you're trying to figure out, did Aspen do something to her? It is incredibly gripping. If you like discussion around the darker sides of social media or how it can be very creepy and thrilling, this one definitely delves into that. Everyone Here Is Lying by Shari Lapena. This is a twisty psychological thriller that had me absolutely blown away. So this is a fantastic suburban drama. We have a 9-year-old who goes missing from her home. We have like conflicting timelines about when she was last seen, and it's discovered that the family and the father in particular have a lot of secrets. This is a gripping thriller about a tight community and the scrutiny they place on this family after their 9-year-old child, who is known to be kind of difficult, disappears. Like, did the parents have something to do with it? Did she wander off? Did someone else take her? Was it a stranger? Who knows? And this one had me on the edge of my seat. The ending for this, oh, this is my favorite Shari Lapena. I've had really good hits with her, but this one is my favorite. And just like the title says, everyone here is lying. This one definitely has some very unreliable points of views. You are reading multiple points of views with this, and I ate it up. Absolutely loved it. This next one is so underrated. It made my underrated thrillers recommendation list, which I'll link above, and this is The Family Lies by Angela Henry. I read this in January of this year, and I still think about this on a regular basis. Our main character is Sabrina, and she is trained as a librarian, but she's working at a bookshop because she lost her job, and while she's there, she runs into this man named Theo, who's continually coming in shopping, and he says he needs someone to be a personal librarian at his estate. He's very wealthy. He wants someone to organize, I think it's like his deceased mother's library collection, and to like archive it and, you know, curate it, make it what it used to be. So Sabrina leaves that job and she moves like as a full-time in-person librarian on this estate, but she's shocked to discover that Theo was the last person to be seen with this missing woman. She gets involved sleuthing around with the disappearance, and there's just a lot of secrets, and as the title suggests, the family lies. Oh, I ate this up. It's just absolutely thrilling. It's just, who can she trust? Can she trust anybody? I mean, the setting for this on the estate was really gripping. I loved the bookish element, of course, with her being a librarian. Absolutely adored that. Theo was an interesting character. There's a housekeeper who has so many rules and expectations that really confuse and worry Sabrina, which was interesting, and I loved this book. Next, we have a phenomenal domestic thriller by Sandie Jones, who I think is a really bingeable writer. I absolutely like, if I'm looking for something fast-paced, bingeable, and twisty, I feel like Sandie Jones is a great option. And the one I recommend especially is The First Mistake. Our main character in this is Alice. She's a working mother who is married to Nate, and she suspects her husband is having an affair. He's very distant, there seems to be some things off about him, and she confides in her best friend Beth. But then she wonders if Beth has something to do with it or knows more than she's saying. She starts to suspect Beth, and she's wondering, was this my mistake trusting Beth or trusting Nate? And this, wow, again, this was one where I really had like a gobsmacked moment throughout this book, and I read it years ago and I still think about it. I really, really enjoyed this book. That's Not My Name by Megan Lally. This is actually a young adult thriller. It's the only one on here that's young adult, but it blew me away. It has two primary points of views we're reading from. We have one who is a young girl who is found on the side of the road. She is badly injured and she can't remember what happened to her, and she ends up at the police station. Her father comes to collect her, but she has no memory of this man. She's like, is that even my father? I don't know. And you're kind of reading from that perspective. It's very gripping and scary. And then just from this teenage boy and his girlfriend went missing. He lives in a small town and everyone in the town looks at him as if he did it because he was the last known person to see her. She just got out of his car one day and left is what he's told everyone, but is that what actually happened? It sounds kind of suspicious to some people, and so he's digging into his girlfriend's disappearance because he refuses to let her go. The title of this book still gives me chills because of how it comes up in this book. It was just so incredibly gripping. Again, one that I ate up. I really loved this, especially for summer, because there's a lot of scenes in like the woods, and I thought this was a phenomenal book. It really doesn't feel young adult. It's very intense and fast-paced, and I had an exceptional time with it. All right, we have a couple more thrillers. My camera overheated. Back. Mr. Bo would like to say okay, Mr. Bo, you want to say hi? You want to say hi, Miss Bo? Oh. If you are new to my channel, this is Mr. Boaz. He is a chocolate Boston Terrier that I adopted this year, who is just my little fluffy world. I love him so much. And he is a big hugger, as you can tell. So if you see my hand moving, it's probably because I'm petting him. So sorry about that. Our next one is The Patient's Secret by Loreth and White. If you like everyone appears normal but everyone has dark secrets and is crazy type of suburban psychological thriller, this is amazing. In general, I've fallen head over heels for Loreth and White's writing. I've read at least 3 books by her this year and they've all been 4.5, like 5 stars, but I think this is my favorite. It's close. It's really close. But The Patient's Secret involves 3 main female characters and points of views. You have a psychotherapist who practices outside of her house in this really nice idyllic neighborhood. Then you have this new mom in town named Arwen, and she's kind of she doesn't conform to the standards. She's very free-spirited. She's very flirtatious. She flirts with a lot of the other ladies' husbands, which they don't appreciate. She ruffles some feathers. And then you have the detective who you're reading from, because there is this person on the loose who is going after female joggers and murdering them, and you get to kind of explore this mystery through the eyes of these 3 points of views. I loved it. Loreth and White, her twists, she's got a bingeable writing style, absolutely love it. Behind Closed Doors by B.A. Paris. This one has scenes that will just be forever cemented in your brain. Forever and ever. We have a golden couple, basically, Jack and Grace. This is a domestic psychological thriller. It is gripping. They are the perfect couple. He is like an attorney, he makes a ton of money, he's always dolled up in a suit, she's like the perfect housewife, they have a gorgeous home, she makes beautiful food for dinner parties, but there's some strange things. It's the things like she never seems to eat much of the food she makes. She can't seem to answer the phone unless her husband is around. He seems controlling. And this one is about what happens behind closed doors, and it is utterly terrifying. Truly terrifying, honestly. Absolutely. Scenes of this are forever ingrained in my brain. I've read other B.A. Paris and they've all been really good, but this is my favorite. One Dark Night by RIchell, another writer who I think is so underrated. This takes place in a small English community around Halloween. so it's perfect for this time of year. There are multiple perspectives you're following. A student is found dead after some kind of Halloween party in the woods, and this one has multiple perspectives from like a mother's perspective, from classmates' perspectives, and there are multiple timelines as well. This goes into themes of privilege, talks about urban legends. There's a lot of urban legends about what happens in the woods. The ending for this, I was so sure I figured it out, and then the author just pulled the rug out from under me, and it was so good. It was so good. I cannot wait for more from this author. This was amazing. The creepiest in the woods Halloween type spooky vibes. It was perfect for fall. Look in the Mirror by Katherine Steadman. This one, oof. This one's got a unique premise. I really enjoyed it. Our main character, Nina, and her father, who she's very close to and believes to know a lot about, passes away. During the inheritance reveal, she discovers that she's inherited this vacation home on an island that she had no idea her father owned. So she goes out to this island, and it is the state-of-the-art luxury huge mansion, and her father's specialty was building things like this, and she's just stunned. She has no idea why he never told her about it. She's just shocked. And then there is a room that is locked that she cannot get into, and this is about her trying to get into that room. The title gives me chills. There's also another perspective from a gal who is, she's kind of like a maid. She's actually a medical student, and she's working as a maid to rich families, or like a nanny, to basically pay for school. And so while she's doing that, she arrives at this family's home. She's ready to start her gig, but they don't appear, and things start to happen. This was so good, and this is one where the title just sticks with you. It will give you chills by the time you're done, and this one involves a lot of mind games, among other things, so loved this. Last but not least, we have The Night Shift by Alex Finlay. I've read many by this author. This is my all-time favorite. This one involves 2 mass murders that were separated by 15 years apart, with striking similarities. We have one that takes place in the late 90s in a Blockbuster store, and one night, you know, some people are closing the shop down and they are all killed. It's never solved. 15 years later, a very similar crime occurs leading up to New Year's, and this takes place in a small ice cream shop in the same town. There are striking similarities. There is one survivor from the first attack, and you're reading her perspective now as an adult, and a therapist, which I found very interesting, as she starts to delve into the new attack. You're also reading from a detective's perspective, and the brother of the original accused suspect who believes his brother is innocent. This was so good. Bit of crime fiction, definitely a little more grisly, but such a good mystery, and it brought the emotions with both the brother's perspective and the survivor's perspective. This is my all-time favorite from him. I loved this book. Just, oh, it was so good. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope this gave you some ideas for your TBR this fall, and I hope you guys leave me a comment down below and let me know what is your all-time favorite thriller. Have you read any of the ones I talked about? Did you like them as much as I did? Obviously, these were all loves of mine, but I love to hear different opinions. Hit subscribe. I do post new content every week, especially within the mystery and thriller genre, and I do a lot of cozy, fun reading vlogs with mysteries and thrillers. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye, guys!